It's true, bamboo bedding is dreamy to sleep on. That's why Quince aptly named their Bamboo Dream Quilt Set. Coming in 12 colors, you're absolutely going to love this quilt and 2 shams set. Starting at the softest of pinks and going all the way to a dark navy. It's going to be perfect for anyone's room. Your own, your guest rooms, your kids' rooms, maybe even back to the dorm bedding. Quince has everything you need to elevate your space, from bedding to soft organic towels, airy curtains, and premium kitchen tools designed for everyday use. And of course, as you know, Quince has gorgeous cashmere and other wardrobe essentials. And the best part, Quince's products are half the cost of similar brands. They partner with top artisans and cut out the cost of the middleman, passing the savings on to us. Thank you, Quince. And they only work with factories that use safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing practices, so you can feel good about your purchases from Quince. Elevate your space with home essentials from Quince. Go to quince.com/DTT for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's Quince, QUINCE.com/DTT to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/DTT.
It's a wrap. Gorgeous gift wrapping for the holidays.
Our decorating is classic and timeless, as is our advice. So today we're sharing a classic DTT episode from the archives with you.
I love a pretty package.
I do too. I mean, I think we just like everything so pretty. And, even if you didn't do a good job picking out the gift, if it's wrapped in a nice way, you get points for that.
Oh, yeah. Like when I was in elementary school, I remember I would spend so much time doing a great cover for my reports, my book reports, because I love to color it and draw it and, maybe even make it like a 3D thing with some yarn or whatever. And, the contents might not have been so awesome, but the cover was really good.
Well, there you go.
And, it impresses the person when you're handing it to them. If the cover looks good, they might get a little distracted, not even really think about what's inside.
Well, and brown paper packages wrapped up with string.
Okay.
Come on.
I cannot even believe you just said that. Because, I wish I could take a picture of it. Here is my notes on this little piece of paper. Brown paper packages tied up with string. That's my first little note to myself.
Well,
for today's episode,
it is we do share a birthday, my dear.
Oh my gosh.
I know.
It's creepy.
That's my favorite way to wrap.
Presents. This is going to be really short because we're both saying the same thing. This is hilarious.
Yeah. And people think that it's bad when we disagree, but actually it's good when we disagree because then there's more content.
Yeah.
So now, we're done.
Exactly.
But this is absolutely my favorite way is the brown paper, craft paper. And then you use the baker's twine and then maybe stick a sprig of greenery.
I see where you're going with this.
Here's the thing I've found from working in design for as long as we have. I used to think the more complicated, the better. But the reality is some of the simplest designs are just absolutely the best. And I found that seems to be an overarching theme of some of the best designs in history. And this is so simple, but so classic, has such an elegance to it. It's really hard to improve on that.
Agreed. Getting off the gift wrap for 1 second is my mantle. I mean, last year I was doing a promotion with a company and I got sent, and it wasn't Balsam Hill, it was a different company. I got sent all this stuff and I did my whole mantle and I was like, yeah, that looks really pretty, but I was like, And this year, it's super simple and I'm so much happier with it. It feels much more like me and it's, I think, more beautiful. Like I just wasn't trying that hard.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that way with the packages. And the thing about using this type of foundation for your packages is it's economical. You can get 200 yards or something of craft
I should just
paper.
go buy it and then I'm done.
Oh, yeah.
Really.
The weird thing is you can't really find that so easily.
Yeah.
They don't sell it at the post office. They don't sell it at the Rite Aid or the CVS.
Well, and I have brown paper that I use for painting to cover the floor.
Right.
But it's super thick. So you don't want something that thick. You want it more like butcher paper. that's
right,
really
but you don't want it laminated, like any kind of sheen on it, and you don't want it. Sometimes it has those subtle stripes. You don't want that either.
well, and
You want the real craft one.
So, and I'm hearkening back to a time back when I was an engineer, wore steel-toed shoes to work, the hard hat, the whole bit. I worked at a paper mill, and at Christmas time, they would give us some one-coat paper to take home. So it's thick white paper with that it was a shiny white on one side, and it was perfect for wrapping gifts. And so that's another alternative, is just simple white paper and you can go with the baker's twine for that, or even a simple ribbon, or just one color ribbon, maybe just buy a lot of one type of ribbon. And then you just change out your ribbon every year. I think the classic white paper is just as fantastic as the brown paper.
Oh, yeah. And can you get that in rolls, you think? Or do you have to work at a paper mill to get that?
I'm sure somebody sells it. Yes, I'm thinking that's the case. Yeah. And then you can buy the ribbon in bulk too. So I mean, that's the beauty of both of these. They are not going to be as expensive as the regular wrapping paper. But let's say you want regular wrapping paper. I think the same principle applies. You want to go for something. I try to go for something very simple, and it doesn't have a lot of design to it. So I'm looking for a stripe, maybe a plaid, something with fewer colors in it. And I think that has that simplicity. And I'm not looking for something that has Santas all over it, unless it's for a small child that's going to go gaga over that. So yeah, I'm looking for something that just kind of looks a little more simplistic and a little more elegant. Here's another idea, is to use old sheet music and wrap that around. Isn't that a simple look that you can just add a bow to? Just so a beautiful pretty. One color bow, or the twine.
Yeah. And you can do something like we say, the limited color palette with your whole house. You can apply that to your gift wrapping too. Maybe you say, I like the craft paper idea. I'm going to do the craft paper and gold and maybe black or white or something like that. So maybe you have the craft paper. You could do something like maybe the smaller packages in the sheet music, like Anita is suggesting. And then maybe you do other size packaging. Maybe you get a package of gold colored bags or something like that. And you maybe do some black or white tissue in there with a bow. So it all works together. And that just looks so pretty under the tree.
What about wrapping your presents with a black matte paper and then using chalk to put their names on it? Or maybe it's more like a white pen.
Yeah, I would do the white pen, because the chalk, so you could be like,
well, and then,
does this say Johnny?
I think Johnny might, or I think, Sissy might mark out the Johnny. Yeah. Yeah. I think, there might be a problem.
This is a little smeared.
Well, I think people might be changing who they're for,
They might be, they could change who they're for.
See,
your brother would have done that. Let's go back to the collective thought that this brown paper package, I won't sing, it'll be so awful.
Thank you.
Tied up in string. Julie Andrews could do it so much better than I. Okay, so you could do a whole thing with that, and it's really inexpensive, and I've done this. So you get your craft paper, your roll of craft paper for your boxes to wrap. Then you get lunch bags, the little brown lunch sack bags. You can, like at the grocery store, like 100.
So
like
paper bags, not the Ziploc bags that are plastic.
Yes, the paper bags, brown paper lunch bags. And then you can also buy the brown paper bags that have the handles, that you can get them on Amazon.
Oh, right.
You could get packs of them at Target too. You can do all the brown. So obviously the craft paper, you're wrapping up your packages, and then you can do a variety of different ribbons and things like that we can talk about. Now, the little lunch sacks, you could put in things like little toys or socks or something like that, small. You just fold it over, and then you do 2 hole punches, and then you can run a ribbon through that, and then you tie the ribbon together. It looks so cute.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Right. And then obviously the other brown sort of like shopping bag, like the smaller sized one, like a small sized bag that you might get at a nice boutique or something like that, but just in the brown craft paper. Obviously, then you have an opportunity to bring in a colored tissue paper that might go with your ribbons, and then you can put a tag on it. Another thing that I've done is this is really reusable, economical, all of that. if you've gotten Christmas cards in the past and maybe you just cut the front off, but just don't throw the whole thing out. And so you've got this cute Christmas card or vintage Christmas cards, or you make something, a design, and maybe you photocopied or something. You could just cut that into a rectangle or a square, and you can affix it to the front of that bag and make it very personalized.
Oh, I love that idea.
Hey, we'll be right back with the rest of the show, but keep listening so we can continue bringing you DTT. So have you tried Dupe yet? If you haven't, come on, dupe.com. It is going to be your new shopping best friend. And it's not just for furniture. I know I've shared with you about my coffee table dupe, but you can save money with Dupe on fashion, shoes, jewelry, and more. I just used Dupe to find an absolute perfect twin of this t-shirt that I wanted. It was an $80 t-shirt. I was not going to pay $80 for a t-shirt. Dupe helped me find the twin, like maybe the exact same shirt. Find something you love, and then you can find replicas, twins, and maybe the exact thing for so much less. Give Dupe a try today. It is really so easy to use. You just type dupe.com / before any product URL in your browser, and voila! It instantly finds you less expensive alternatives. They even have an app and a browser extension you can download. No account is required. No sign up is required. It is completely free. I know, can you believe it? But it is completely free to use. Stop wasting money on brand names and start saving with dupe.com today.
And speaking of personalized, I had an idea. If you had some rubber stamps that are initials, you could actually use the stamps to spell out somebody's name and do that on the paper. But
that's so cute.
But it has to be a flat paper, with no coating.
Right. So that craft paper would be great for that, right?
Yeah, the craft paper would be excellent for that. Because
that'll
really
kind of fun too
ink.
if you were wrapping with your kids. Like, okay, obviously not their own, but if you had a box and then you just gave them the stamp pad and the stamper and let them go to town on the box for, whoever, grandma's initial or their sister or brothers or something. That's so cute.
Well, and let's stick with the stamps for a few seconds because there's so many really cool stamps. And I just love the idea of kind of a handmade thing. Mm-hmm. So if you had the craft paper, I have a stamp somewhere. I don't know where they are, but it's just of an evergreen branch. So wouldn't that be cute? Just kind of use that kind of to kind of create your own wrapping paper and use that on the box.
That's a great idea. And, I'm going to bring up the toe tags and, I still haven't come up with a better idea. The manila tags
my goodness,
with the string.
With the toe. Oh.
Okay. So you can buy those seriously, 1,000 in a box for $10.99 or something at Staples or probably on Amazon. Okay. So I've teased, they're that vanilla color, which is fine.
Well, but you can get them in white too. I think
you can get them in white. You can also very easily spray paint them. I spray painted some silver.
I think it's just easier to buy them in the color you want them in.
I don't know if you can get them in that size though.
Okay.
For that price, and you just lay them all flat and you go and you're done. Or the other thing that I've done with them, and I have a blog post on this, so I'll put that in the show notes, is I tea stained them. So you just get so you've got these manila style, and they're also uncoated tags that have the strings. Now I took the strings off so the strings didn't get stained. And then I just brewed some tea in a big aluminum foil roaster pan. And I put a bunch of the tags in there and just let them sort of soak around. So they got this cool aged look to them. And then I stamped them with, I have a crown stamp. And I stamped them with the crown stamp and they looked so pretty. And so I did that one year for my girls, kind of like princessy. And so I did the craft paper bags. And then I did some really, pink looks really pretty with brown. And so I did sort of the pinks and golds for them in ribbons. And then I tied on this tag that had this crown on it, like a tiara type of crown. It was so pretty.
I'm not a crafty person. I don't do a lot of crafty things, but I really like the rubber stamps. And I have one that is of kind of old-timey script writing that looks like from an old letter. I mean, that would be fantastic to use that on some paper and then use it to wrap something, smallish.
Oh, yeah.
I love that idea. And then it just has a beauty to it. And I agree with your idea of kind of using just certain colors under your tree. I think it ends up looking prettier. If that's not your thing, don't worry about it. But if you want, I want it to all look a certain way, then that's a great way for it to all kind of have a cohesive look.
Yes. Yesterday I was at the grocery store picking up some stuff, and there was a gentleman standing there looking at all these rolls of wrapping paper. And he just kind of looked at me and he's like, he's like, I hate to say it, but I spent so much money already. I don't want to spend more money on this wrapping paper.
So he didn't know who he was talking to. What did you say? Did you say craft paper?
I have to say, I could have stood there for like a half hour and given him all these ideas, but I didn't want to use it all up because I knew we were recording today. So I said to him, you may want to look into some craft paper. And I just walked away. I don't know if he had any idea what that meant. It was like a whisper. Craft paper. And I just kept walking. But it's true, like each roll, and you think you're getting a ton of wrapping paper, and then you're not. And then you have this giant roll, and then where do you store it and all that stuff? So if you go the craft paper route, right, you can use this paper like all year round. Like you can literally use it if you're doing a project because it's so inexpensive, just rip off a bunch and put it under what you're going to spray paint, in April or whatever, and use it for wrapping paper. And then each year you can make it look completely different.
Oh, I love the plaid ribbon. And, so I've got some one year from the UK, and there were all these Scottish tartans. Mm-hmm. Beautiful. It's so hard to find the really beautiful plaid ribbon. So, that's something. And, I have my French velvet ribbon, but I don't know if I'm going to
I wouldn't give that to anyone.
No, I don't think it's going on gifts.
Maybe just like wrap up your girls' presents and that, and then you can just take it back from them.
Yeah, I'll be taking that back. So
just rolling that up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Hand that back. Bring that back to mommy.
Exactly.
And something I saw on Pinterest yesterday that I thought was a great idea, and it brings in my love of the romantic things. Did you ever have one of those wax stamps? Did you ever use the stamp?
Oh, yes, I had one of those. I don't think I ever used it, but I was like, oh, yeah, I have one of those.
Oh, I used it. See, I would have made a great pen pal for you because you would have.
You would have appreciated it.
I had pink wax and I had the A stamp, wax stamp. Man. So that was my seal that I put on there. And I don't even know where you would get the wax for this because it's a special high color wax. It's not like regular candle wax because the color is much more dense.
Uh-huh.
But I saw that, I think it was white paper, and then they had done the baker's twine and then used a very bright red, not bright red, but a red,
right.
That sealing wax on the twine and used a stamp on it. And they had it, I think there were about 3 places where the twine was around the present and the stamp. It was really pretty.
Oh, yeah. Well, I just love that baker's twine. It just makes me weak in the knees. Yeah, and that's something you can get your hands on. I even like to use those balls of it, or I have a couple that are like wrapped around a little piece of wood in vignettes because it's just so cute.
Oh, I know. I love the baker's twine. There's something about it. Well, I was going to say, I don't know how messy this would be, but I saw this idea too, where if you had a feather boa or something, if you cut it, not so you didn't use the whole boa, in each present, but just stick that on the top of a gift bag.
Oh, that's so cute. I might do
Wouldn't that be fun? Now, yeah, but it might be messy, and don't blame me if it is. But
no,
it sounds
would definitely be messy, but it might be worth it.
But it might be worth it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh. We had so many boas in my house in the dress-up box, and I would know when those came out. There'd be purple feathers flying all around. Have we gift wrapping a wrap, or we got some more to talk about?
Well, I have a few more thoughts here. Thing about when you put your ribbon or your baker's twine on there to tuck in some greenery, maybe tuck in a branch of berries. I think you could use real greenery, or you could use some sort of a pick, some faux greenery in there. I think some other things you could do is you get out your hot glue gun and put on some pine cones if it's not going to be thrown under the tree with other things on top of it.
And you say you're not crafty, but you are packing a hot glue gun over there?
Well, a hot, yeah.
All right.
Yeah. And everybody's got that. Or how about using the twine to tie on some ornament balls, some little ones? Wouldn't that be pretty?
Yes.
I know you like your shiny brights. You could put some of those.
But I would never tie my shiny brights on someone's gift. No. First of all, they're very fragile and they're very rare and they're very special. No, but the ones the ones that you're like, wow, I bought those like 12 years ago at CVS and to fill a bowl, and now I don't really want them anymore. But they look great on a gift.
I think the smaller ones would be really cute. Yeah. Maybe 3 of them, of the small ones. I think that would be a pretty cool thing to put on there. And I'm trying to think. I mean, and you and I, we've had this discussion before about, is it okay to do a bag gift? And It doesn't have to be in a box, but I'm pro bag.
I'm very pro bag. I mean, a bag is also reusable. I mean, unless somebody, I don't know, goes crazy with it, you can reuse it. I mean, I use those bags often for my girls for their lunches. Not necessarily a Christmas bag, but if I had these kraft, the brown kraft bags that I do have around, and if they're used for a gift and it comes into the house, and then you'll use it again to, I don't know, return somebody's sweatshirt that somebody ended up coming home with. And, they're very useful. And then all of a sudden somebody's lunch is in it. So that's a great way to just extend the life of your purchase. Anyway, I think they look really nice. I don't think there's any shame in gift bags at all. I never understood the shame in the gift bag. So I'm very pro gift bag.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, and
those boxes are sometimes, lots of stores don't give boxes anymore.
Well, and it just feels painful to go buy a box to put some of these things in that don't really, that you don't have a box for. If it's a shirt, that's fine. But yeah, I think, I mean, it just works out well for some things just to do the bag. And, that's maybe something we come up for next Christmas or some nice decorative drawstring bags that you can reuse year to year that are fabric.
Oh, that's a nice idea. But then you have to get them back. You'd be like,
can
I have my bag? Can I? But is it like part of the gift? And then that person can use it. Maybe it just
then they get to use it. Yeah, you don't get
it forward. Yeah, no, you don't have to say. And now I need to thank you very much. Now take your slippers and give me my bag back.
You have a little string on it, and then when they take the gift out, you just gonna pull the string back.
My mother-in-law's like chasing her bag across the living room. No, that's my bag. You take the slippers and go the other way.
Yeah, that's right.
That is so funny. Good ideas. I'm just so cracking up that we had it's like brown paper. At first I was like, oh, maybe she's going to say that's not nice. And I was like, oh, then I'll just have to be quiet. No. When am I
and then
ever
we
quiet?
won't be friends anymore. I had something I wanted to mention, an email that we just got while we were recording, Kelly.
Oh, wow. Okay. Is it good?
And it's from Ashley. Of course it's good. They're all good.
Okay.
Ashley, that's right. And she is from House Candy Home Staging.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. She said she just recently found the podcast, and she says that we're relatable and super funny. We love you already, Ashley. And I just wanted to mention that she said she was listening to the holiday gift podcast episode and bought the Duralex food containers for her mother. And remember, those are the ones you said were boring and no one would want them for gifts.
I was like, did she just say food containers? Does she keep talking about how the mold doesn't get caught in them? Ashley, God bless your soul for buying those. I think is it your mother or your mother-in-law? I think they're going to love it. Why wouldn't they? And
listen, I have switched over to, those are the only containers I use in my kitchen, in my refrigerator, and it all matches.
Oh, okay. Then
I'm telling you,
I'm gonna have to
it
catch
looks
up with
good
you
inside.
and Ashley. Then, if the double A's are doing it, I'm gonna have to do it too.
Ashley knows what she's doing, so
yeah, Ashley will, and she could stage a mean refrigerator with those too.
See, it probably looks good. Yeah,
I'm sure it looks really good. Thanks, Ashley. That was really nice of you to mention that. And I wanted
thanks.
to
No, I appreciate it because it was vindicating. Because
I was kind of
totally threw my ideas under the bus. Yeah,
no, just that one. Another fun thing was, because we've gotten so many emails and we've got lots of people ask questions and then some people giving us tips, and we've got some tips coming your way in January that I think will be really useful. But just a few things I didn't want to leave unsaid before the year is out. Lisa M she was, I think she was listening to one of the purging ones maybe, or just, talking about how, it's okay if you enjoyed something for a while, but she was feeling guilty about it. And I know I do too. In fact, I'll explain something to you guys after I tell you what Lisa said. But so she was kind of talking about that, and she was listening to a couple of podcasts that we talked about that. Her husband, I guess that's maybe a fly fisherman or something. And he said to her, I'm paraphrasing, but something like, it's okay, honey. It's like a catch and release. Like, you enjoyed it for a while and then you let it go. And that's okay. If you've had something for a while and you've enjoyed it, and even if you look at it now and you think, why did I ever even want that? But you've had some time of enjoying it and it worked in your home for a period of time. don't feel bad about letting it go to someone else, or don't feel bad about transforming it in the myriad of ways that we talk about doing.
Had instant regret.
Yeah.
Again, I don't think it even matters whether you enjoyed it or not. If it's making you sad to see it now, move it on out.
Catch and release.
Catch and release. There's probably somebody else that would love it. I call it rotating, but I do a lot of catch and release. And somebody gets a great deal. I send it off to the thrift store. Some things I give away. Sometimes I sell the things. But it keeps things flowing and it keeps things interesting in my house. And I don't do it with everything. I just kind of bring things in. But my favorite things, obviously, I keep. But some things were just kind of maybe more for fun. And I just move them on out and give them to somebody or sell them. Catch and release. I think that is just the best term. I love that.
Oh, I loved it. Oh, so it was episode 262. And she said it must have been just made for me. She was letting things go and she was ready to leave the farmhouse, heavy duty farmhouse look behind. And isn't that so sweet that her husband on his own, and she says in his own sweet man way, said, it's like when I fish. Catch and release. You found these things, enjoyed them, and now it's time to let them go.
He is a keeper.
Yes.
He's a keeper.
Yes. Catch and hold on. Good one.
But he's got great advice.
Great instinct and great advice, and knew exactly the thing to say to his gal, Lisa. And thanks for sharing with us, because I bet you that phrase from Lisa's husband is going to ring through so many of our heads. As we're like,
I think we're going to have to do a catch and release episode.
We might have to do a catch and release. So catch and release that I recently had, and I was inspired by those words from Lisa and her husband, but also Nita Jean, I have to say. She said something to me the other day and I was like, okay, girl, I got it. So we were talking about something about a coffee table, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, oh yeah. I'm like, it's kind of like that coffee table I have on my porch. Like, I look at it and I'm like, I really like it. And it's like one of those metal ones with the scrolls, and I've had it for like 25 years or something like that. Like I was born with it. It's just been with me forever. I feel like, it serves its purpose, but I don't really like it. And she said to me in her own charming way, put a fork in it. And you know what I did? I put a fork in it. It's gone. But you know what I did? I did a little Anita and I did a little Kelly. I took the glass off. Saved the glass. Yeah. Okay. And I took one of the, I had these cement columns that were left behind by the gentleman who lived here that, are really pretty. And I had one sort of tucked in a corner somewhere that was not doing anything for anything. And I carried that sucker, and Peter helped a lot. I carried it to one point and then he carried it all the way out, carried it to the porch. We took the glass off, cleaned it up, and I put the glass on top of that. And it looks fab.
Stop it.
I did.
It's like Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz. You had it there all along.
I did. I had it there all along. Yeah, but I needed you to say that. And but it was also a catch and release thing, because I was like, it's fine. It's so fine. But I would take a picture and I'd be like, I hate the way that looks.
Mm-hmm. It's not you.
It's not me. Well, yeah. I was like, I'll spray paint it black. And I'm like, still not me. But anyway, that's my little catch and release. And thank you, Anita, taking your advice.
Blunt again.
It's good when you can have a friend that can be completely honest. I was like,
yeah. Well, if you had toilet paper on your shoe, I would be the one to tell you.
Well, that's what you want to know, right?
Yes. Well, this was so fun. And now I want to go wrap a bunch of presents, which is good because I have a bunch to wrap that are not wrapped yet.
Yeah. And try to do, it's now the 19th when this comes out. You still have plenty of time. But, I have made the mistake many of years of having very good intentions and then being up until 1:00 in the morning wrapping my girls' presents. You don't end up enjoying it. So try to carve out some time if you can to do it and really enjoy it. Get a cup of tea or whatever, a glass of wine, or put on your favorite show, or listen to some back episodes of Decorating Tips and Tricks and get your wrapping on.
Yeah, or some Christmas music.
Yeah.
So I hope you enjoyed today's episode. And remember, we're here to inspire you to create a beautiful home. Until next time.
Want to talk to us? Well, we really want to talk to you. So let's schedule a design consult. Anita and I are here to give you individualized, actionable advice on how to create the beautiful home you want and deserve. It's so easy to schedule a design consult with us. Simply click the link in the show notes or head to decoratingtipsandtricks.com/consult. When we talk to you on the scheduled time, we will be ready with so many great tips, advice, and yes, tricks. So sign up today for a design consult. We can't wait to talk to you.